about how you affect the spirit world, the spiritual world. Using P3 powers as usual. Rule of 3. We have power 1. It's this little triangular pita chip. Power 2 is our pita chip. And pile 3 is this weird looking trapezoid pita chip. Okay, I'm just gonna meditate on those. High pile 1, you chose this triangle pita chip. I'm gonna be reading. I'm using the Tarot del Toro today because I'm enamored with this deck. Let's see. Spirit, align me with Power 1 vibrations. Power 1's highest good. Align me with Power 1's desired reality and the reality they have now. Spirit, tell me how Power 1 affects the spiritual world. We have Knight of Blades. We have Knight of Blades coming out in reversed. So that makes me think that, I don't know, I just heard you're not the type of person to be on your high horse. Not only that, but I specifically heard someone yelling, "Get off your high horse." So I feel like not only are you a humble person who doesn't brag, doesn't lord themselves over people, doesn't feel superior to others, but you also, knock other people off their high horse. And because, you're not on your high horse, it's not like you're like, oh, well, you're like this, so you should be embarrassed of yourself. But it's more like, just by being yourself and standing there and standing your ground about your beliefs or like what actions you're going to take in a situation, because you're not going to let anybody else like affect you like that. You have a clear mind. But it's like, by you just being in your energy like that, people feel like they're being knocked off their pedestal or knocked off their high horse. They get sometimes offended because they're like, who does this person think they are? Because this is spiritual energies. People, a lot of people who say they're spiritual are actually on low vibrations, or people who have an idea about spirituality will like, their spiritual body, their inner soul will be neglected and will be on low vibrations. But most of the time people don't realize that because it's just the habits they formed over their lifetime. So they think they're doing the right thing by being on that high horse because it's all they've ever known. But it's like, because this is a spiritual thing, this just happens when you walk into the room. When you respond a certain way in a conversation, or when a person tries to disrespect you, it's like an energy that comes off of you that just makes people take it down a notch and take a step back and be like, humble themselves. Like, sit down, be humble. Emphasis on the sit down part is like, the funny part about this is when you do this, people feel like they can't like get mad at you for it or like retaliate in some way, because it's not like you did anything. There's no evidence they can use against you to be like, oh, you did this. It's just like they're bothered by your energy, and by doing or saying anything about it, it's just going to come clear to everyone in the room that they're just bothered by your energy, because you never try to disrespect anyone. You never like talk out in a mean or brash way. You just be saying the truth or your truth. But for some reason, this makes people feel like they kind of have to like up their game a little bit. Like, they've been humbled and now they're like, I gotta get back up there. I gotta get back up there somehow. But it's cool because you really make people like even people who are like higher vibrational, you make them sort of take a step back and look at themselves, look at what they're doing, how they define their ego, if that makes sense, and like what they're proud of, and the things that they put emphasis on. Because there's some energy about you spiritually being, I guess, a light worker. That you could call it a light worker, but it's more like a teacher, because you're not trying to teach anyone, you're just being in your own energy. Yeah, you're not trying to show anyone the way or tell anyone how to do it. You're just being in your own energy. And it's like, by doing that, you end up teaching people. And you don't realize that happens because people take a step back and do that on their own. Like, they're taking a step back from you when this happens. And a lot of the times people are too embarrassed to be like, you changed how I view myself, you changed how I view the world. But you do that to people, like, you make them want to be better. We have 9 of Swords. I feel like you experience a lot of opposition in this life. Maybe you get a lot of psychic attacks, or you're really spiritually in tune. Like, maybe your third eye is open or something, but on the offhand of that, like, you end up seeing some really dark things, or some really dark entities try to approach you. Because you feel like that's you in the middle, and your sword is pointed away from all these other swords, but all these other swords are pointed at you, surrounding you. And like, this is the sword of truth. That's you. That's the sword of truth. That's the sword of clarity. But these are all little butcher knives. These knives did not come in for truth. They came in to hurt, to maim. Maybe, I feel like a lot of the people who've betrayed you and hurt you and put their burdens onto you end up dreaming about you a lot. They think about you all the time without knowing why. They get so many weird signs from the universe about you, or about what they did to you. Because I just heard return to sender. It's like all this like energy of these people trying to gang up on you and make you feel small, or make you feel like you're surrounded and you don't have a choice. It's like it flipped around and ended up happening to them in the same exact way that they tried to make it happen to you. Like, the pain they tried to cause you ended up turning around back on them. Or maybe it was specifically the actions they took against you ended up turning back on them, and sort of circumstantially failing on them, because it's like your spiritual energy in the spiritual world is like, people can feel that you've been through a lot of hardship, a lot of pain, but some people want to take advantage of that, and they think, oh, this person's a weakling, they're a pushover, you know, they're just used to this kind of dynamic. But your energy is so like held within itself. You keep this sort of truth and this sort of clarity at all times. You keep your mind unclouded from judgments, and this just makes this negative energy bounce off of you. All these knives flying at you just like bounce right back off. I'm hearing a lot of people want what you have. Maybe you have status of some sort, money. You could just have like creative pursuits or passions that other people are jealous of, or you could have like just your energy that people don't like and feel like you're doing it for attention or something. People really hyper fixate on you. Because it's not just one or two swords, it's a bunch of swords that you don't even know these people, but they are fixated on you and your energy. And with this sword in the middle here, I'm really getting the energy. You're not affected by any of this. You are in your own bubble. But it's like everyone around you is watching you float around on this little bubble. And they want to pop it. They want to pop your bubble. They're like, I want to rain down on your parade. But it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because your sort of truth is clear, is bigger, is more founded than their little negative things that they just want to, because it comes from, when people get fixated on you like this, it comes from like a state of like wanting to either be like you or put you down a peg, if that makes sense, like make you shine less. I don't know. So there's just this energy of a lot of things going on around you, but you generally keep yourself separate from that chaos mess. But it's like it intrigues people even more and makes them just orbit around you. Could have Leo energy, some of you. Could also have Virgo energy. Because Virgos usually are the ones who have to like keep it together in the face of like other people being a little bit peggier in their ego. But you are a leader. No matter what sign you are a leader, because your sort of truth, because it's so infallible and you have so much faith and that belief in yourself, these people who end up wanting to cause so much negative energy, you end up just following you and following your strength. Basically, they're riding your coattails, but it's actually teaching them. You know, they're getting the scraps until they realize, hey, I can be making this energy for myself. I don't need it from someone else. And then they fuck off. But there's always someone else there trying to like mess up your energy. But you're good. You have yourself in check. Especially when you meditate and you're doing shadow work and things like that. And you don't let things like that get to you. Okay, one more card. One more card on how my power one affects the spiritual world. Okay, two came out, so I'm guessing they correspond to each other. We have Justice. Let's just admire that real quick. Justice. And then we have Ten of Cups. Okay, so you didn't get the family you deserved as a kid. Even if your family was relatively good, or it could have been worse, you know, but you still had to be a sibling for yourself. You still had to be a mother for yourself. You still had to be a father for yourself. There are a lot of things you didn't get that you should have gotten from your family. A lot of stability, and a lot of validation and unconditional love you didn't get, that you've had to create for yourself. And that is sort of what made you this balanced person, this humble person. Because you are just making that on your own. You've had to fight off loneliness. You've doubted this Ten of Cups within yourself. You've doubted that you were ever able to make this serenity and this happiness in yourself and build this home inside your own body. But then those moments hit you where you really believe in yourself and you see your own beauty and you're like, I've built up every cup from the bottom. And that was all you, Power One. And with this justice card here, on your journey of building that for yourself and building that happiness within yourself that goes beyond just contentedness, but rises to a more spiritual aspect of what your soul finds to be a home in this life. On your journey of finding that, you are bringing justice to not only your karmic situations, but the people around you, your friends, the people who follow you. They are receiving this good karma too. Okay, for some of you, this very specific message is not going to apply for all of you, but I just heard that your mother and father, your two parental figures, they act like they're close to death just because they can't, like, use you anymore or get that satisfaction out of you anymore. Because it was kind of like they depended on you for that. And it's like they're just sitting around waiting to die. Maybe for some of you, they have already died. But it's like they're not even trying to make anything for themselves or find contentment in this life like you are. They're just sitting around waiting to die. Which is why it makes me really feel like, for you, Pile 1, you're the one who's ending major karmic cycles in your generational trauma, like family bloodline thing going on. And that's why we have justice with 10 of Cups here, because you are meant to receive this ultimate stability, this happiness, this home, this foundation, because you are bringing justice to these things that you know need to be fixed, to these imbalances within you that you know not only come from your ego, but they come from the things you've learned as a child from your family and the things that they learned from their family. You know, it's a cycle, and you realize there was a cycle, and you're trying to bring balance to it. You are trying to balance to it, and that is what's bringing you the stability and the satisfaction with your life. Because your spiritual energy is like, I deserve not only this contentment, I deserve this balance, I deserve this justice, and I deserve to live fucking beautiful while doing it. I'm hearing for some of you, you're gonna get married, because with this veil here, that veil is really sticking out to me. So part of your justice for some of you, Pile 1, is that you're gonna marry your person. Like, the person you enter a long-term relationship with in this lifetime is gonna bring major healing to you. Also, I mean, okay, I can't tell if this is a crow or a raven perched on her shoulder right here. Looks like a crow. But what I'm feeling is that you have intuition, like divine intuition connection with nature and the divine realms. It's like your aura radiates truth and clarity in the spiritual world. And so that's why some people are intimidated by your aura, or like feel like they're getting knocked down off their high horse because of it. Because everything you say, everything you do is like, I'm bringing this justice, because that's just your crown chakra energy. Is like, everything must be balanced in the end. And then I'm hearing, like, when you move, when you talk, the way your eyes look, something about you just rings this sense of fulfillment, this grace. There's something so beautiful about you, because you have this confidence in yourself based on the foundations you've built for yourself, based on the beliefs you have that have brought you these 10 cups. And you're very regal, Pile 1. Like, you're very princess, prince, queen, king energy, because this outfit is just so elaborate. I don't know, I feel like the universe kind of treats you like a princess or a prince, Pile 1. they kind of got you taken care of in that way, where like they'll help you through any situations because you're helping the universe with situations by bringing this justice and by being a clear channel. And not only that, but your spiritual aura, your spiritual appearance feels so absolute. I'm trying to figure out how to describe this like appearance. It's like creepy, otherworldly, ethereal. And because they have like an orange aura coming around them, I'm feeling like bringing yourself pleasure in this life will be a major component in bringing justice to the things you deserve to have as a soul. And bringing other people pleasure by not being afraid of your own pleasure and not being afraid to share that with other people. Okay, Pile 2, let's get it on with Spirit. Connect me to Pile 2 energy. Connect me to Pile 2 desiring reality. Connect me to their current reality. What does Pile 2 got going on in the spiritual world? How do they affect me? The star. Okay, so we have the girl from Pan's Labyrinth playing with the fairies and opening the book. Oh. So the thing I loved about that character in Pan's Labyrinth is, I mean, I know she's a child, but her belief, like, she wasn't afraid when the fairy turned from, or when the fairy turned from a bug to a fairy, you know. She wasn't afraid of the weird fawn thing. I mean, she was kind of afraid, but she still believed in what he was saying and went along with it. Because she believes in that magic, she believes in that light. No matter how grotesque the world actually is, which is why I like Guillermo del Toro so much, because even though everything is so grotesque and sort of messed up and creepy in the way that the real world actually is, his themes always lean toward those like eternal sort of truths. I feel like for you, Pile 2, you operate from your inner child spiritual world when you're connected to your spiritual self. You're very connected with your inner child. But not only that, your belief. When you talk to other people, you just make them believe. You make them see a different perspective about the world. Maybe you have contact with like actual fairies, Pile 2. Or maybe you just are a little bit more in between the veil of consciousness. So you talk to some entities between the veils sometimes. I'm also seeing that your aura is less like a bright, like fire or sun. It's more like the entirety of the night sky, and looking up at it and like feeling so small compared to all of it, like the infiniteness of it. Your spiritual energy is very large, it's very all-consuming. I feel like sometimes when people get attached to you, they like never let go of you because your energy just consumes their entire life, or they let your energy do that to them. Because there's something about your soul being so like much. Like there's something about your soul, Palo 2, that is just like, I don't know how to explain this in a way that like would make sense. People hyperfixate onto you. Some people feel really intimidated by you, and sometimes people like want to tap into that energy that just feels like it's like rumbling inside you, just waiting to come out. There's something very extreme about you, Pile 2. It's like you're a neutrino bomb waiting to fucking explode, and everybody's just staring at it like, when's it gonna happen? When's it gonna happen? Because they know it's gonna be big, and they know it's gonna be crazy. Yeah, maybe Pile 2, with your spiritual energy, you have a lot of hidden potential that other people detect. Why did I say protect? Maybe you got some guardian angels trying to protect the energy within you, because maybe you still are like a child. Maybe you still are in your inner child energy. Maybe your soul is still learning some stuff, because those powers don't just awaken on their own, you know, you have to grow into them. And I'm feeling like your Pile 2, you're only going to get more in touch with your powers from this point on. Like, they're only going to get deeper and more complex, because there is literally an infinite well of power within you. I don't know where it comes from, but you definitely have people around you trying to protect you like that, like guardian angels. But not only that, maybe family and friends even subconsciously feel like they need to protect you for some reason, or protect your light, even if they don't know why. Also, you're probably way more connected to the spiritual world at nighttime. Or you might have like attachments to the lunar cycle or the moon. Give me another card on Pile 2 in the spiritual world. We have 5 of Cups. Candle magic is good for you, Pile 2. You can use that to your advantage. Also, fire, like the element fire, and if you handle that, you have a lot of power with that. I don't know why. Maybe your spiritual thing has something to do with fire, the fire element. People can't get over you once they've left you, or once you've left their lives. People like constantly think about you from time to time. If they've hurt you, they're constantly like, oh, I wish I hadn't done this, and oh, I'm so sad. Life is so unfair. I don't know. But I also feel like something about your energy is very like sad. It's like, okay, I don't know if you've seen fucking Pan's Labyrinth. This is for those of you who have. At the end, when the fawn asks her if she'll give over the baby, and she says no, and then the general comes and like takes the baby from her. That scene is really sad when you realize she gets to go to the place she had been trying to go, but that's only in her own world. For everyone else, they're like crying over her because they didn't get to see her go there. They only saw what was left behind. And that's what I'm getting from your energy, pal, too, is that even though this power is going to be really beautiful to you and bring you the utmost satisfaction and love in the world, the ultimate thing you've been searching for, like, it's going to be kind of sad. It's going to be kind of a sad, beautiful thing. Like, and especially for the other people around you who aren't going to understand what all of that stuff means. They're going to be, I don't know. It's like people already have this energy over you where they feel like you could die at any moment, you could disappear at any moment. Like they need to protect you because you're like a light that could be snuffed out. People get really sad over you and they don't know why. They just don't want to lose you. Or maybe they just find you so beautiful that they just cry and cry and cry over it. And they don't know why. There's just something really sad about your soul, piled too. Some like real like tragedy, you know, that's gonna happen to you. And for you, you're gonna be like, shit, this is how I wanted it to be. But then everyone else is gonna be like, oh, this is such a tragedy. They were so beautiful. They died so young. Okay, I actually don't know if you're gonna die young, but I'm just trying to think of something tragic. Okay, one more card. One more. We got the world. Got the world. Coming out in reverse. I'm feeling like you've met a lot of dark people or people who were like really far into some really dark stuff. And you know, you never judged them or anything, but you kind of had to shine a light on their world and what they were going through. I'm hearing you're the light that shines in the darkness. For some people, they feel like if they never would have met you when they did, they wouldn't still be here. I'm also hearing that only through the darkness can you find the light. So for you, pal, too, you have to, your soul is going to go through a lot of dark things in this lifetime. Like a lot of really messed up stuff that is unnecessary, but it's going to help you find the light within yourself, because you're going to feel so alone in these situations. Like you have no other option but to just shine the light within yourself and have that be your only comfort until it really starts working for you and you no longer are afraid of that darkness. I was saying you have to go through a bunch of shadow work that has to do with things from the past that you regret, or things from the past that you know you didn't deserve. Major need for forgiveness for this pile. Forgive yourself is what I'm saying. But again, with this energy of your soul being like not a black hole, but it's like a fixed point that people fucking feel like they need to return to. And when I say fixate, I mean like people will be like really focused on you, and then they'll be good. They'll go back on their own cycle, but for some reason it always returns back to you. Like they're doing their own thing, and then they realize they were just trying to come back to your energy again. Because there's something about your energy that pulls people in. That's why that makes them so sad. Because they can sense this deep sadness within you. And because you're the star, nobody can reach you. You're way up there shining your light. People feel like they're down here, stuck on the world, just watching you from afar. I'm hearing that's not true. You make people fall off of their own world and sort of like, I don't know why I'm hearing fall into the sky, but it's like just relinquishing control over their own beliefs and their own foundations of how things should be. You change that within people because people just want to follow you. They want to see why you have this such beautiful, intriguing aura, and it ends up changing their whole world, their whole ego. Pal 2, I'm feeling like spiritually, your soul, your aura has the kind of energy where like you're a star way out in space. Way out in space. Nothing for miles around. There are no worlds around you. There are no planets that have gathered around you. You're just a lonely star shining for itself in the middle of darkness. Complete darkness. But you're still shining. How do the stars go on shining? But that's something you don't really answer. It just sort of comes out of you. It's just sort of who you are. And that's why it makes you this whimsical person, because you don't know the answers. It just sort of happens. It comes out of you because that's who you are. And you've got all these fairies around you. You're just so... You're talking to the spirits of the universe as if they're just, they're just beings just like you. And you see that beauty in them. You see that reality in them. And that's what makes them feel seen. You make other people feel seen by just shining your light. You make other people feel sad and remorseful over you, like they are always going to love you. They're always going to miss you. They're like, oh, it's so sad that they're going to die eventually because their soul is so beautiful. I feel like you're a starseed, Pal, too, because the world in reverse here is just giving me, like, non-Earthian energy. My Plutonians and Venetians. But also just people who could be straight up from another star system. Yeah, because look at this. With this world card, it looks like he's going in a little pod. It looks like he's going in a little pod and he's sailing right towards Earth. So maybe that was your soul. Pal 2 coming to Earth to help people by straight up just shooting your soul across the fucking galaxies to get here. Maybe you have like a past life memory where you were with someone you knew out in this other star system and they were like watching you leave and go to Earth through this little pod. Yeah. Just like any seeds you plant, any ideas you have, any like intentions you put out into the world are gonna come true, Palo 2. You're just really powerful because you have this pure and like light soul, and like all of your intentions never are bad or negative, so they never come back on you. They always become fruitful. And that's why people are so sad to like have lost you, because you are this beautiful star energy. And when people lose you, they feel like their entire world is lost. Yeah, I'm feeling like Pao 2. You're a person with a good ratio of fullness to emptiness, and people feel like they need that from you. They feel like you're the one who can fill their void. But then they're all sad 5 cups energy when they realize you're not. Because you're not. You're your own star. At the end of the day, you're the one who has to sit with your beliefs, who gets to talk to your childhood friends. Not friends, it's like your childhood, the things that you would see in your childhood, like imaginary friends or little fairies. you're the one who ends up with those memories in the end, and you're the one who gets to decide whether or not you believe in the reality of them. And pile 2, your belief just moves mountains. It moves people who, like, are so unpushable, so unfallible. You touch people's souls deeply because you see them for who they truly are, which is the star, the same star that you are. Okay, pile 3. Okay. This is gonna be your reading. My little malformed trapezoids. I totally forgot to show pile 2 their little crackers, so I'm gonna show it to you guys. Because I needed to show it to someone or it's gonna bother me. Okay. Okay, pile 3. Let's get to know your energy. Spirit, let me tap into their desired reality and their current reality. Let me tap into their angels, ancestors, spirit guides, and please block off anything that is not the light or divine plan. Please block off any evil eyes or any blockages that wish to do harm or bring negative energy to pile 3. Alright, pile 3. Well, let's see. Spirit, what is pile 3 like in the spiritual world? How do they affect the spiritual world? Okay. Oh. Jesus Christ. Okay. So a few cards came out. I'm just gonna read all of them together. We have the 8 of Wands. It was. Fuck. We have the Valet of Goblets, but it's. Why did I almost say slowed? Slowed and reverbed. No, but it's reversed. But the thing is, then you have 10 of Wands here, but you also have the Hierophant in reversed. Damn. Why does this look like the Devil card? But anyways, in reversed. Then we have 7 of Pentacles. And then we have 3 of Cups. 3 of Goblets. 7 of Coins. Jesus Christ! Padre, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. Maybe in the spiritual world, you're kind of a is narcoleptic the right word? When they fall asleep all the time for no reason? I don't know why I keep yawning. Pile 3. Maybe you just get really exhausted by other people really easily, like your spiritual energy gets exhausted really easily. Yeah. But anyway. This Hierophant in reversed. Your spiritual energy, how you affect, okay. Your spiritual energy is kind of like bringing something new to the table. In the spiritual world, it's sort of like you're defying what tradition has typically called for in terms of spirituality. Maybe your sort of spirituality is very different from what other people, believe in, and even so, you never lord your beliefs to other people. You're never like, oh, everybody should believe it this way or it's wrong. You're just like, everyone should believe in their own beliefs. And then I feel like you're very resistant to change. Things that aren't meant to change in your life or in other people's lives. Your spiritual side just like comes right in for. You're like, no. You're very good at seeing when somebody isn't over their head, or they're not ready for something, or they're anxious about something. You're good at seeing that in other people and helping them out with that. People feel very comforted by your spiritual energy and your spiritual aura. So I feel like I get this Three of Cups here. You might be very popular, pile 3, and if not that, everyone you know cares about you and feels like they need you in your life. Or they need you in their life. Because this Three of Cups here, I'm feeling like your spiritual energy is heavily affected by your friends and your social, and the people in your social life, but also heavily affects your social life. So if you're feeling really depressed and it is starting to affect your aura and your spirituality, then all of a sudden it's like everyone in your friend group gets all like angry and spiteful and starts acting crazy. But it's like when you're feeling serene and you're really in touch with your spiritual energies, then all of a sudden everything becomes balanced and harmonized in your friendships. So that's a weird thing you got going on. Besides that, I feel like for you, pile 3, you might be meant for fame. And if not that, you're meant to affect a lot of people by your beliefs or by your energy or by your creative pursuits. Whatever you're doing is meant to affect a lot of people, or meant to affect people on such a deep level that it changes how they interact with others. 7 of Coins is telling me that your spiritual energy is very practical, which is a very good trait to have. Sometimes spiritual energies can get like kind of like off in their own world and like lose their way. Because your spiritual energy has a sort of practicality to it, it keeps you balanced without even having to try. And the reason this happens is because I feel like something your soul has already mastered is where to put your energy in the correct places to manifest what you're wanting to manifest in the material world. And not only that, but planting the correct seeds in your mind, having the correct thought patterns to reflect your desires and what you're trying to manifest. Because obviously if you're planting bad thought seeds in your mind, you're not going to manifest anything fruitful. But 7 of Pentacles upright is about manifesting fruitfully, because you put your energy in the right places. You took the correct amount of time and the correct amount of effort. You feel very precise. Your spiritual energy feels very precise. And like, it's giving me it's giving me Virgo energy. Where like, you have to get it right. It has to be perfect. It has to be just like the right way to go with everything else, so that the energy is all balanced. So maybe people feel like in like the spiritual world, you sort of project this like meticulous energy, but that's only because like you're trying to direct energy in the right way to not bring like bad seeds, or to not bring forth bad thought patterns. But not everybody understands your way of operating like that, so they might see your behavior as very eccentric or odd, when really it's just your soul trying to be in the right place at the right time to initiate the correct effect of what you're trying to like bring out into the world. I feel like spiritually your energy is sort of like a perfectly made web. Like how you affect the spiritual world around you is you're in the right place at the right time, and you bring things forth at the exact right time that it sort of just goes with the divine planning, the divine order. So sometimes like I feel like people might gravitate towards you just like for guidance because they're trying to get it right or trying to figure out how they can get it right. Because you're very good at weaving things in a way where they flow harmoniously in the spiritual world, and you're very good at weaving, I guess, your friend groups and your friendships in a way where everything is harmonious. You kind of keep the balance. But sometimes this can be a little exhausting for you, pile threes, because you're like, okay, this has to be there, this has to be there, this has to be there, and you're so focused on getting it right that it's like you could keep doing that forever. You could literally keep making it more perfect forever. So sometimes you kind of just have to take a step back and be like, this is good how it is. But that can be hard for you, pile three. I feel like in the spiritual world, you have a certain style that is, I don't want to say notorious or infamous, but it's unlike any other. So how you affect things in the spiritual world is like, it's like your signature move. Like nobody else could replicate it. And then the Ten of Wands. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little leaf in the middle. There's a little tiny leaf in the middle. I feel like you had to go through a lot to get where you are now. And that has sort of just made you be wary of what you put your energy into or what actions you take. Because once you take action, you're very fast with it. You're very like, okay, let's get this done. We're getting it done now. It just happens. You just sort of make it happen because it needs to happen now. But you might take a little while deciding what that is. Because maybe you've put your energy into some things or some people in the past that you thought would be fruitful. And you thought it would work. You trusted that it would work, and it ended up turning on you for reasons you couldn't see. So you have grown more wary of your energy and your trust, for sure. I feel like how you affect spiritual world is like your energy is sort of the bringer of the end. I don't know if this makes sense, but you're like, okay, this chapter must come to a close. And you are like, you're kind of sewing up all the loose ends. You're getting all the phrase and making sure everything is good, because once it's closed, it can never go back. It can never be changed. And you help people sort of through that process of transformation where they like, I don't know why I just heard like, you help people change the things they felt like they couldn't change. You help people finish up and find where they need to put their energy into so that they can close this chapter within themselves. They can close this cycle within themselves. Because sometimes people feel like they get stuck in a cycle and they just can't get themselves out of it, and they need help. They need advice from someone. They need that little puzzle piece that they didn't have before. maybe you have, you know. And with this Eight of Wands, I'm feeling like your words, your voice, and how you speak is a large part of your spiritual aura and your spiritual energy. Your throat chakra really projects a lot more into the spiritual world than you think. So make sure you're saying only what you truly believe. I'm hearing your sense of expression really moves other people. Like, you really make people listen to what you say and, like, take it to heart. With this Valet of Goblets in reversed, I feel like your spiritual energy, your spiritual aura is like, okay, everybody stop having this pity party on yourself. Stop trying to, like, make things better by, like, feeling bad about yourself. We're gonna actually change the things we need to change so that we can create harmony between each other. Like, maybe you're one of those people who is going to help society find a better way of operating, one person at a time. And maybe that's why you're meant to know so many people, is because your ideas of practicality that is in tune with your spirituality and who you are is what a lot of people need. A lot of people need that sort of, like, energy, but they haven't realized it yet. But as soon as, like, you walk in the door, people are like, oh, I can do it this way. I don't have to, like, be all tripping like I was. I can actually just change the things I meant to change and move on with my life. It's like this energy where people overcomplicate shit. And your spirituality, your spiritual energy, your aura just comes right through and is like uncomplicating the shit. Like, it's like you're moving the energy around to where it's like, it doesn't gotta be this complicated. Let's fix this all up and then we can move on to the next thing. And you're very quick about it. You're very quick about observing where the problem is and how it can be fixed. And maybe sometimes it might bother you because people don't want to close that chapter, and you really, like, it's like a thing for you. You're like, okay, we gotta close this. We gotta get this done so we can move on to the next thing. And it bothers you when people don't do that. It really bothers you. So sometimes you can get a little mean. But I feel like you're meant to be that way. You're meant to be a little blunt and a little harsh and say things that maybe everybody else was too afraid to say to this person or to these people. Like, because with this Valley of Goblets in reverse, you're not going to be all nice about it. You're not going to be like, oh, it's okay. Just, like, have this cup of love and you'll be okay. You're like, okay, this cup of love is going to get taken away from you if you don't do this stuff. If you keep doing this thing over and over and over again, it's just going to be bad for you. And you're like, maybe you're a little bit harsh about it, but you go off. And trust me, with this Eight of Wands, people listen to you. They feel like what you're saying is, like, you're just trying to help people who feel like they can't change. But when you do this, you're not trying to make them believe a certain way. You're not trying to change how they operate. You're just, like, helping them based on their own beliefs and how they operate. But yeah, I feel like part of your spiritual, like, way you affect the world is by being this brash person who says what's on their mind and isn't afraid to say it. And that's why people look up to you and admire you, because they want to have the energy too. They want to just be like, yeah, what they said. That's why you got some friends like that who just follow you like that. But yeah, definitely don't, like, take out your anger on other people, but don't be afraid to tell people what's what when they're being, you know, contrary. Yeah, you're a very brave soul, pal. You're not afraid to do shit. You're not afraid to get things done. You're not afraid to believe in yourself. I mean, you know exactly what needs to be done. You know exactly where the problem is, and you know exactly how to fix it. And you go about your business doing that. Minding your own business, like, you're like, oh yeah, this is just how I operate, just how I do things. But it's actually a very amazing thing to be able to do. Like, not everybody is able to so intricately have practicality with spirituality so that they're woven on a same-sided rug. Complete harmony. And it's like, that's how people learn from you. They changed their own beliefs that they weren't believing in. They changed their own like ways they were coddling themselves and sugarcoating stuff. And they change how they respond and react to their own cycles, to their own melodrama, to their own things that they've manifested for themselves. Because it's like, for you, Pile 3, you realize that there's always a chance to change things. There's always another chance. As long as you're still alive, there's always another chance to redeem yourself, to do better, to forgive yourself, all of that stuff. So that's why it frustrates you when people are like, oh, I don't want to, or I can't do it. Because it's like, as long as you're going to stay in that energy, you're just going to be like that till you die. You know? You don't have to be that way. And that's what your spiritual energy, how it affects the world, is like, you're like, you don't have to be this way. You don't have to not believe in yourself like this. You don't have to put yourself in a specific mold like this, where you never change. You're always staying the same cycle. You introduce the idea in a way that they can understand from their own perspective on why and how they can change.